Om Namo Narayanaya. Welcome to the study of life and teachings of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. We are now into the reminiscences and the teachings of Latu Maharaj. So most of it is connected with Ramakrishna himself. Now let us go forward to see what Latu Maharaj has to say about all these things. Latu Maharaj or Swami Adbhutanandaji Maharaj. Now we shall start with the prayer. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Now, Latu Maharaj or Adbhutanandaji is telling, when I first saw Balaram Babu, Balaram Bose was a householder devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Latu Maharaj is telling when he saw this Balaram Babu, so the word Babu used is a respectful word for anybody. So now, because he was senior to Latu Maharaj and he was a very good person, Latu Maharaj is using the term Babu. So Latu Maharaj is telling, when I first met Balaram Babu, I did not recognize him to be a person from the state of Bengal. Why? Because every state has different way of dressing themselves. So now, Balaram Babu wore a turban, pagadi on the head, just like Vivekananda will wear, or the Sikh community, the Sardarjis will wear. So Balaram Babu wore a turban as is customary with Punjabi Sikhs, and he also carried a staff, a danda, a staff in his hand, and he wore a long robe with another cloth over that. He also had a long beard, a big beard, dadi. Now and then we went to his house. Here we means with Ramakrishna. Now and then I went to his house with Sri Ramakrishna. Then Latu Maharaj is telling that the master used to say, Balaram Babu's house is my Calcutta fort, my parlor. Whenever I go to Calcutta, that is a place where I stay, I take rest. So it's my fort, my parlor. So now Latu Maharaj is explaining the nature of Balaram Babu. Now in his house, Balaram Babu was a great devotee. By nature he was a devotee, and that too his family deity was Puri Jagannatha, that is Lord Krishna. They were Vaishnavas, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's path. So Balaram Babu had arranged for the daily worship of Lord Jagannatha Krishna in their home. Every day there would be puja, the whole puja with all the rituals, where so many things will be offered to Puri Jagannatha with great devotion. So whole family had this devotional aspect. So everything, suppose what do they do in such families? It may be devotees of Shiva, it may be devotees of Divine Mother, it may be devotees of Ganesha or any other deity. Now he is the devotee of Vishnu here. He is worshipping Lord Krishna every day, Puri Jagannatha in his house. So they prepare food, they prepare breakfast, of whatever they prepare in the house, they would not consume it without offering it to their deity or the deity of the house, the Ishtadevata. So what is the result? Latu Maharaj is telling Balaram Babu arranged for the daily worship. Every day Krishna was worshipped in their house. Lord Jagannatha in his home. Now because of that devotional attitude, the whole family was Krishna centric, divine centric, God centric. So what is the result? Ramakrishna himself, the Avatar Purusha, is telling that the food in Balaram Babu's house was very pure. So if you want to eat pure food, if you want to make the food of your house pure, then what is to be done? You have to offer it to gods. You have to offer it to holy men. You have to offer it to the devotees. You have to offer it to the poor people, to the animals. So when such a thing is there, as promised by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that you have to do all your activities like yagna, sacrifice, then the Lord will be very pleased. So Ramakrishna is certifying that because of this puja, every day everything is offered, it is God centric. The master said that the food was very, very pure in his house. So we have learned how to make the food in our house pure. Now Lata Maharaj is telling, I have heard that the master visited his home 100 times because Ramakrishna was very particular while he would take the food, if it is impure, if it is touched by men of low character, or if the food is earned or the money is earned in a wrong way, unrighteous way, adharma, maybe stealing or from the deceiving others by deception, by wrongful means, then Ramakrishna couldn't even touch or see that food. Even if the doctors or the nurses had earned the money just by fleecing the money from the patients, charging it too much for luxury, couldn't touch it. He could see there would be blood and pus and vermins in that food because it is earned in a wrong way. So that's why, what is the way they used to earn? And has it been offered to God? Is it with devotion? That will make the whole system or the food pure. If you consume that pure food, automatically your mind will be pure. Your thoughts, your outlook about the world will be pure. And we are earning the wrong in the wrong way and consuming that food, not offering to God. And if you are consuming that food, not sharing with the poor people, then that becomes impure. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he tells in the maybe in the third chapter, yeah, while he's describing about the process of yagna, you have to do everything in the form of sacrifice, yagna. There he tells, suppose you have earned it in the right way, hard work. You go to the office, you go here and there, you do the hard work on the farm or earn it in the hard work, the money, the food, everything. But if you don't eat that food after cooking it without sharing it to your father, mother, brother, sister, neighbors, poor people, you eat it alone for your own enjoyment, then I consider that person to be a thief. Krishna tells this. If you eat it only selfishly, self-centered, here eating the food means all that you have earned, enjoyment, without sharing it, only self-centric, in a selfish way, egoistic way, then I call that person a thief. Even if you have earned it hard way, but if you don't share with others, you are using that money and food for only your selfish enjoyment of your family, of your enjoyment only, then I call him a thief. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. So here you can see Balaram Babu in his house, he's offering to God. Everything is offered to God. And then they share it with holy men, with the poor people. So that's why everything has become pure. And because of that, Ramakrishna could see that through the inner eyes, that everything was filled with devotion, it was God-centric, and food taken there is pure. That's why Ramakrishna would easily go to that house. So prepare your house in this fashion, then the Lord and all the Devatas will visit you. If you prepare your house in the opposite way, just for your enjoyment, sensual enjoyments, for only your purpose with selfish, not God-centric, but self-centric, then demons will visit, the ghosts will visit, the negative energies will visit, gods will not visit. So, Balaram Babu arranged for daily worship of Lord Jagannatha in his home. The master said that the food was very, very pure in his house. I have heard that Sri Ramakrishna visited Balaram Babu's home 100 times, and that Balaram Babu maintained a record diary of these visits, on what day, at what time Ramakrishna visited, in which year. It kept the record. And Ramakrishna had visited Balaram Babu's house more than 100 times. Now Latu Maharaj is continuing about, reminiscing about Balaram Babu. Latu Maharaj is telling Balaram Babu also visited Dakshineshwar. Not only Ramakrishna visited his house, Balaram Babu himself and family would bring the family to Dakshineshwar, to the place where Ramakrishna lived very often. The master, once in a vision, he used to have a lot of visions. So once in his vision, Sri Ramakrishna saw Balaram Babu as a member of the Kirtan party led by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By that, Ramakrishna know that he was a great devotee. His attitude, his mentality is of devotional type. So there are different group of people. Gnani type, who are of the logical bent of mind, who are of a rational bent of mind, who will discriminate, use their viveka to see only the real, differentiate between the unreal, and go to the God. In that negative means neti neti marga, grana marga. But Balaram Babu's was of devotional type, emotional type, turning all the emotion towards God. Now there are some other people who are yogi type, Raja Yogi type, analyzing your mind, concentrating your mind, focusing your mind, introspective, separating the Purusha from the Prakriti, the Raja Yoga type. Then there are some other people of the nature of Karma Yogi type. Always they are restless, lot of energy. So they will do good to other people, helping other people. So that is Karma Yogi type. So now Balaram Babu is of Bhakti Yogi. Now not that there will be no Karma Yoga in it or Raja Yoga in it, that also will be there. But the dominant factor is devotion, emotion. So Bhakti Yogi type. So now the master in his vision, he saw Balaram Babu was as a member of the Kirtan party led by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his last life, that is one thing we can understand, he was devotional type. Then in his last life, he was a companion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Balarama Babu would escort the master to the inner apartments. In those days in India, that was strictly maintained. Women would not come or would not be exposed to other men. They were confined to the inner apartment. So now, but Ramakrishna, they had so much faith in Ramakrishna because he was Avatar Purusha, he was God himself. So they had so much faith in Ramakrishna, where other women or other men of other families would not at all be allowed into the inner apartment. But Ramakrishna was taken by the owner of the house, that is Balaram Babu. So that shows that how much faith they had in Ramakrishna, how much devotion they had with Ramakrishna, and what was their attitude, and what did they see in Ramakrishna. Because they had seen the Lord, their Ishtadevata in him. That's how they gave so much of importance. Otherwise, can you imagine that conservative, traditional, orthodox family, the Vaishnava family, behaving like this? Not at all. So Balaram Babu would personally escort master to the inner apartments where the woman quarters of his home. However, there was one cousin. He didn't know about Ramakrishna. He was not happy about it. The cousin of Balaram Babu, his name was Harivallabh Babu, did not approve of it. We have read that in the life of Balaram Babu as an householder. I had taken up the lives of all the householder disciples. Most of the householder disciples of Ramakrishna was covered during the COVID period. At the time, these incidents had come. but let us study the same incidents from the angle of Latu Maharaj. Latu Maharaj is telling, however, that cousin Harivallabh Babu did not approve of our Balaram Babu taking Ramakrishna into the inner quarters and making him meet the women of the family. Now, Girish Babu, that is Girish Chandra Ghosh, and Harivallabh were very close friends. So Girish Chandra Ghosh heard about this. One day, when the master had come to Balaram Babu's home, they tell here actually the Shampukur house. Girish Chandra Ghosh called Harivallabh Babu to come and see Sri Ramakrishna. Now, alone, left for himself, he didn't like to go and meet Ramakrishna. He was not of that type. He was a traditional type because his very close friend is inviting him. So when the close friend or somebody of the family or whom he had faith and friendship invites, naturally there will be a change of attitude. So because his close friend Girish Chandra Ghosh invited him to meet Ramakrishna, so Harivallabh wanted to see, okay, let me see. Earlier you didn't approve that Ramakrishna should go to the inner apartment. But when Girish Chandra Ghosh told him, okay, let me see, test him or meet him. So Girish Chandra Ghosh bought Harivallabh to see Sri Ramakrishna. Both of them Master and Harivallabh, they started to weep. Now, Latu Maharaj is telling, I could not understand why Harivallabh was weeping so much. Why was he, after he met Ramakrishna, why was he weeping so much? Latu Maharaj is telling, I could not understand why. Afterwards, I wanted to find out, investigate. After many days. After many days after that incident, I went to see this gentleman Harivallabh in Cuttack in Orissa. He lived in a place called Cuttack. All this happened in Bengal near Calcutta in Dakshineshwar. And later on, our Latu Maharaj wanted to find out, investigate why Harivallabh, who was opposing Ramakrishna earlier, when he came and met Harivallabh, when Harivallabh came and met Ramakrishna, why was he shedding tears? And he became so greatly devoted to Ramakrishna after that. He approved of Ramakrishna. So he wanted to find it out. So when he went to Cuttack to this Harivallabh Babu to ask him, why did you cry so much? Then why did you afterwards become such an ardent devotee of Ramakrishna? What did you see in him? Had Ramakrishna given you any vision in his body? I could not understand. So Latu Maharaj is telling, afterwards, I went to see Harivallabh in Cuttack in Orissa, away, many 100 kilometers away, maybe 500, 600, 700 kilometers away, in order to learn the reason why Harivallabh shed tears so much, cried, and then he got transformed. But Harivallabh would not disclose What happened? Might be on that day Ramakrishna might have revealed his true nature, who he was, that he was the avatar of Vishnu. He was Vishnu himself, or used to say who was Rama, who was Krishna in Dwapara Yuga and in the Treta Yuga. The Treta Yuga it was Rama, in the Dwapara Yuga it was Krishna. The same energy, the same person now has come in this body as Ramakrishna in Kali Yuga. So now Ramakrishna might have disclosed something very special. That's why he started shedding tears and he got transformed. But Harivallabh, when Latu Maharaj went to investigate, he would not disclose what happened. Balaram Babu, now Latu Maharaj is telling Balaram Babu would save money. He would not waste. Just like Ramakrishna would tell his devotees to be frugal, not to waste money, and use it for the service of the Lord, service of the holy men, service of the poor, service of the needy, diseased, service of the animals. So that would bring good. So now Balaram Babu was frugal, would save money. He would not spend on his own luxuries, on his own enjoyments. Rather, he would save money from his household budget and use it to serve the holy men. His relatives, mistakenly, his relatives thought that Balaram Babu was a miser. Then Latu Maharaj is telling, I never knew how rich Balaram Babu was. He was a very, very rich person. He was a landlord. He had a lot of estates in Orissa. He had a lot of property in Vrindavan. And also in Calcutta, he was very, very rich. But he lived like a poor man, like a miser. Why? He would not use much of the money, only for the maintenance of his body. He used to use, his devotion was so much, he used to use much of the money saved in this way, in the frugality, for the service of the God, service of the holy men, service of the poor. And that's why, you know, that Ramakrishna told that the food in Balaram Babu's house is pure, because he is using it for the service of the Lord, instead of on luxuries, sensual enjoyments, to service of the Lord, to service of the holy men, to service of the saints, to service of the poor people. So outwardly he looked like a miser, but inwardly he was a generous person. He was miser only for his selfish needs. On the contrary, he was very generous for others. So that is selfless work. But we are the opposite. We are very generous for our own purpose, for our selfish ends. But when it comes to others and the service of the God, we are very miserly. What kind of flowers will you take? The least cheap one. What kind of fruits will you take to God and holy men? Almost rotten, very old. You know, in some of the shops in India, there will be two types. If it is for your house, they will keep the best one there. If it for the havan, if it for puja, for donation, if it's for charity, if it is for God, all the rotten one, old one will be kept there. So it will show what is your attitude. Does God need all these things? Not at all. We do all those things and we will consume it. But in the process, with the attitude with which you do, that transform your life, that will give purity to your life. What can you give to offer to Mother Ganga? You can worship Mother Ganga with the water of Ganga, that's all. So does Mother Ganga need the Ganga water? It is our own. So what are you doing here? Pouring the water of the river or the lake back to the lake. So what are you giving to God? His own property. He has given everything to us. Everything belongs to God. But through that process, though you are eating the prasad, you are eating everything, consuming, you may be sharing it with others too. In the process, because you have offered to God, to the holy man, you are gaining a lot. You are gaining spiritually. You are gaining a lot of punya, converting all your wealth into merit, righteous merit punya, when which will always protect you. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. So now, Balaram Babu was very frugal and would save money from his household budget and use it to serve the holy men, the saints, the monks, and to the service of God, to the poor, to the needy. But his relatives wrongly thought that he was a miser. Who cares? Would not care for the thought of others. Let them think whatever. Let them think me miserly. Whom am I to please? Whom should I please? I will please the Lord. Tasmin tushte jagat tushtam. If the Lord is pleased, then the whole world is pleased. Why should I bother about what people think about me, a miser or something else? I'm not here to please all the thousand people. But we should please the Lord. All our activities should be transformed in such a way that we should do our work to please the Lord. We can't please this world. So that was what Latu Maharaj was doing. Balaram Babu would save money from his household budget and use it to serve God, saints. His relatives thought he was a miser. And Latu Maharaj is telling, I never knew how rich he was. One day, I saw him lying on a narrow bed, very narrow bed. I said to Balaram Babu, why don't you get yourself a larger and good bed? This one is too narrow for you. When Latu Maharaj questioned Balaram in this way, Latu Maharaj is asking all of us, do you know what he said? What Balaram Babu said? Balaram Babu replied, this earthly body of mine will one day return back to earth. This earthly body of mine, which has come from the earth, will go back to earth. Why should I spend money? Why should I spend this hard-earned and precious money for my bed and other luxuries of my body, when it can be much better spent in the service of the God, holy men, and the poor people, the needy? That was the reply. Can you see what a great devotee, what an attitude? Compare it with yourself. Not to find out fault of others, but where am I? What am I? What is my attitude towards God? How much do I sacrifice for the sake of God, for the sake of saints, for the sake of poor people, seeing God in them? So now you will come to know where is your position in the spiritual life, how much of progress you have done, how much of unselfishness you have gained. One day, Balaram Babu, you know that he was frugal, miserly, hired a horse carriage to the master. The fare from Calcutta to Dakshineshwar was only 12 annas. Three-fourths of a rupee, Indian currency. And such a cheap carriage greatly inconvenienced the master. One wheel of the carriage came off along the way. The horses did not behave either. If they were whipped, only then they would run. Otherwise, the horses would not move at all. Because of this miserliness in hiring the horse carriage at a very low rate, what happened? What kind of a horse carriage did he get? The master did not reach Dakshineshwar until midnight. The wheel went off, then they had to repair it. Then the horses would not move, only if whipped it would go forward. So the master did not reach Dakshineshwar, his destination, from his house until midnight. Later on, Ramakrishna would often joke about these incidents. On Kali Puja day, Kali is worshipped during Deepavali, the Amavasya day, the whole night, Kali, Divine Mother Kali will be worshipped. Generally, Divine Mother Kali is worshipped on the Amavasya, new moon day. So, in a year, we get Kali Puja many times. Now, Palaharani Kali Puja, the Deepavali Kali Puja. Likewise, some auspicious days are there when Divine Mother Kali is worshipped. Now, Deepavali, on Kali Puja day, the Mother's temple in Dakshineshwar, the Divine Mother Kali's temple, and the Chandani. What is the Chandani? The covered portico of the temple, garden entrance on the river, would be decorated with lot of lights. In those days, it was not electric light, colorful light, but it was lamps, lighting the lamps. Deepa, Deepavali. Avali means row. Deepa means lamp. People wrongly call it Diwali, shorten it. It's a short form of Deepavali because people are lazy. They don't want to pronounce it fully. Everybody wants to shorten everything. If the name is beautiful name of the Lord Venkatesha, they will make it Venki. If it is Lord Krishna's name Krishna, they will make it Kitty. Krishna, they will shorten it to Kitty. If it is something else, so they go on shortening because of the laziness. So that's why Deepavali, row of lamp, row of Deepa. They have cut it short out of their laziness to call it Diwali. But it is Deepavali, row of lamp, lighting row of lamp. So now, on Kali Puja day, Mother Kali's temple in Dakshineshwar and the Chandani, the covered portico of the temple garden entrance on the river, would be decorated with lot of lamps, lights. Ramlal Dada, that is Ramakrishna's nephew, would come to ask for Sri Ramakrishna's blessing before beginning the worship of the temple. In the temple, Dakshineshwar temple, the Kali would be worshipped. At that time, earlier Ramakrishna used to do, even earlier to Ramakrishna, his elder brother Ramkumar would do. But now it was his nephew Ramlal performing the worship. So before going to do the worship of Mother Kali, he used to come to Ramakrishna to get the blessings. Master's blessings before beginning the worship of Kali in the temple. During the day, the master would stay in his room, visiting the Mother Kali only at night. Music would be played in the concert tower all the night along. One year, the Kali Puja fell on a Saturday. So Saturday and Tuesday in India are considered very auspicious day for worshipping the Divine Mother. Divine Mother Kali. For Divine Mother Kali, Saturday and Tuesday are considered to be very auspicious. So one fine year, Kali Puja fell on Saturday, an auspicious day for worshipping the Divine Mother. Sri Ramakrishna told us, practice japa tonight. Anyone who practices japa on very auspicious nights like this will soon reach perfection. So on such special days like Durga Puja, Vijayadashmi, Kali Puja, whatever charity you do, whatever puja, havan, whatever japa, whatever worship you do is multiplied 1,000 times or 100 times. You'll get the result very quickly. So here Ramakrishna himself is telling, because that Kali Puja itself is auspicious, They'll be doing puja and homa the whole night. We have seen that. In Belur Math, we used to all, as brahmacharis and sannyasis, stay there during Kali Puja. We would stay awake singing bhajans and doing japa. And in the temple, Ramakrishna himself, they will decorate Ramakrishna on that day, the vigraha or the image, with a red cloth, and invoke Mother Kali, because Mother Kali resided in the body of Ramakrishna always, we know that. So they will invoke Mother Kali into the body of Ramakrishna, the image of Ramakrishna, and worship the whole night. Palaharni Kali Puja, on Ramakrishna birthday, the Jayanti, and during the Deepavali, the whole night they will worship. They will not keep an image of Mother Kali, but they will invoke Divine Mother Kali in the body of, in the person or the image of Ramakrishna, and worship her. Now, while Ramakrishna was living, one year Kali Puja fell on Saturday, an auspicious day for worshipping the Divine Mother. So now Ramakrishna was very happy on that day. The Master told us, practice japa tonight. Don't sleep. Practice japa. Just like when there is the eclipse, whether it is solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, so whatever worship, charity, the good work you do, puja, japa, that will multiply 100 times, 1000 times. So during that period, auspicious period, we have to do japa, we have to do puja, or also you can set aside some articles, some money for charity, and afterwards you can give it. So at that time, you will do the charity, you will do the worship, that will multiply the punya you will get intensely, many times, 100 times, 1000 times. Now Ramakrishna himself is a proof. He is telling, he told all of us, Latu Maharaj is telling, on that special day of Kali Puja, that too it fell on the Saturday, the Master told us, practice japa. The best way of worshipping God is doing japa, telling the name of the Lord. Very easy. The Guru has given us the mantra. So now Ramakrishna himself is telling, practice japa tonight. And he himself is telling, see, these things are to be noted. Anyone who practices japa on very auspicious nights like this will soon reach perfection. I'll read it again. Please note it. The Master told us, practice japa tonight. Anyone who practices japa on very auspicious nights like this will soon reach perfection. Will soon reach perfection. Perfection is God realization. The Master did not allow us, Latu Maharaj is telling, the Master did not allow us to sleep that night. So he gathered all of them in the mandir, near the mandir, allowed them to sing bhajans, do the japa, worship, and look at the mother in the temple. So the Master did not allow us to sleep that night. He sang devotional songs until the late hours, until the morning. He went on singing the bhajans. So now we have learnt something special. On the special days or special nights, when it is auspicious to gods and goddesses, if we perform japa, the result will be multiplied by many, many, many times. And Ramakrishna himself is a proof. He is telling, practice japa. Anyone who practices japa on very auspicious nights like this will soon reach perfection. This God realization. The Master did not allow us to sleep that night. He sang until the late hours. Latu Maharaj is a proof. He is telling about that. So now again, Latu Maharaj is telling all of us, on Jagaddatri Puja, this is another aspect of Divine Mother. Jagaddatri, Dharana, one who holds, Dharayate, one who nourishes, one who holds, one who supports. Jagat, this universe, is called Jagaddatri. Jagat is this universe. Dhatri is one who holds or supports, nourishes. Jagaddatri Puja, the Divine Mother on the lion. So she will be killing a demon in the form of an elephant. So it is worshipped every time. once in a year, just like Durga Puja. So on Jagadhatri Puja, we would go with Ramakrishna to Manamohan Babu's house. Once a musician there played the drum, the percussion instrument, that is the khol. In Harinam Sankirtan, they will be playing one drum that is called khol. So that might be the drum. So during that Jagaddatri Puja, when Latu Maharaj had accompanied Ramakrishna to Manamohan Babu's house, so the musician there played the drum so beautifully that the master hearing that went into samadhi. So if Ramakrishna used to hear good music, good singing, good playing of the music, immediately his mind would go, hearing that beautiful way, it would go to samadhi. So if you know music, if you know to play sitar or harmonium or singing, play it to master. Master will be very soothed. He would be very happy. You can please Sri Ramakrishna by good music. So learn music, learn musical instrument, tabla, khol and other things. Offer it to master. It would take him to very great height of samadhi. So this is a way by which we can please gods and goddesses. So Ramakrishna, hearing that beautiful play of the drum by that musician, the master went into samadhi, very high state of concentration. Another occasion, Latu Maharaj is telling, the master went to see a yatra. What is yatra? An open air theatrical performance. And in those days, the theatrical performance or drama would be based on all our scriptures. It would be devotional on Ramayana, on Mahabharata, not the one like with all bad type of dancing and love stories and other things. It was not social matter. All that theatrical thing would be in those days on Pauranika, based on gods and goddesses, based on scriptures. But now everything has changed, whatever that might be. So Ramakrishna would go to those theatrical performance drama. So nowadays you can tell cinemas with devotion, devotional cinemas or dramas, not this action filled or something like other cinemas. It was devotional. The master went to see a yatra. So that is called yatra in Bengali, an open air theatrical performance at a devotee's home in the village. So people would organize such theatrical performance based on Ramayana, Mahabharata and other Puranas of the great devotees. So that is the way the villagers who were unlettered, who were uneducated, would learn. That's how everybody knew about Ramayana. The whole country knows about Ramayana, Mahabharata. Even though many illiterates are there, they get all the education. They get all this spiritual education and many other modes of education through these theatrical performance, dramas, dances, like Yakshagana and many other formats are there, wherever Rishis and Munis have given in the form of Bharatanatyam or many other types of Natyam, where it will be depicting that will be only of gods, only of good things, of saints, so that they will be educated, men and women and children and old people who are educated or uneducated. Everybody would get real education, spiritual education through this theatrical performance. So it would be considered very auspicious and righteous. It will give us a lot of merit punya if such theatrical performance, devotional dramas would be arranged in the village or the house. So in the name of their mother, father, who were ancestors who are dead, for their punya, so they would arrange in their houses, or for their own well-being, for getting more punya, they would arrange all these dramas. The rich people would arrange. So all the village people will get a benefit of seeing that is both entertainment and spiritual education. A lot of education used to get like that. That's how the villagers, that's how even the illiterate people were educated. Our Hinduism, our Rishis and Munis had planned such wonderful way of giving spirituality, religion through everything, through food, through dramas, through entertainments, through music. Everywhere there was religion. That is the speciality of India. There's no, they will not force them to go to the masjid or something 5 times a day, force everybody, or once in a Sunday. In this way, rishis and munis had given religion every point they used to give. So now Ramakrishna went to see this yatra. Latu Maharaj is also accompanying, that's why he's telling all these things. An open air theatrical performance at a devotee's home in the village of Dakshineshwar. Baburam, who would become later on Swami Premananda, Ramlal Dada, his nephew, was doing the puja in the Kali temple, and I, that is Latu Maharaj, went with Ramakrishna to that theatrical performance, drama. The main actor was a very good person, and he greeted in the drama, the main actor was very good person of good character, and he greeted Sri Ramakrishna, our master, warmly. The next day, after the performance, the actor came to the Kali temple and sang. In those days, the actors would also be very good singers. That was the dancers and singers. That was the talent by which they would be becoming actors. So they had to know good dancing, they had to know good singing also. So now this actor was a good natured person, good charactered person. The main actor was a good person, and he greeted the master warmly that day during the yatra performance. The next day, the actor came to the Kali temple and sang many beautiful songs for Sri Ramakrishna. Afterwards, Sri Ramakrishna told him, your life purpose will be fulfilled through the writing of such songs. The life purpose. What is the life purpose of everybody? All of us? Realizing God, realizing our true nature. That is our life purpose. That is the highest goal. That is the highest aim. So the life purpose, your life's purpose, Ramakrishna is blessing that actor. Your life's purpose will be fulfilled through the writing of these devotional songs. He asked Ramlal Dada, his nephew, Ramakrishna asked Ramlal Dada to copy those songs. So you can see Ramakrishna liked good devotional songs. If you have written, please offer it to the master. Start writing devotional songs like that, whether in English or whether in your own language. Ramakrishna is pleased by those songs. He is encouraging that actor. Your life purpose will be fulfilled through the writing of such devotional songs. Not only that, Ramakrishna was so interested and fond of these devotional songs, he asked his nephew to copy it down so that he can learn and also sing in front of the divine. Another time, a yatra party, yatra means an open air theatrical performance. So the drama party, another time a yatra party came to Dakshineshwar temple to perform. So all went to see the performance. Latu Maharaj is telling, I also watched the performance all night long. So this is how the dramas, the Harikatha and other religious performance, even now in India we see Ekadashis on special days, they will make arrangement, the whole night it will go. Yakshagana based on Ramayana Mahabharata, the whole night. People will come with mat and mattresses and stay there. There will be no chairs or something like that. They would sit on the ground, a whole family. And they will bring their carpets, everything, blankets in the open thing and watch the drama whole night. So that is how they used to get religious education. So much of Ramayana, Mahabharata, so many other stories of Prahalada, Narasimha, all the things they knew. Whole night they were interested in that religion. They used to see the performance. Even now that happens in India. I have seen myself, we used to do that on Shivaratri or on special days. The whole night there would be these performances. So the whole village or whole family would be watching that. And now such a theatrical performance based on the scriptural things had come to Dakshineshwar. So at another time that yatra party came to Dakshineshwar temple Latu Maharaj is telling that I watched the performance all night long. Master was also there watching it. The story was of a man who loved a woman so much that he dug a tunnel under the ground so that he would meet with her. So here, even it is romantic. It was the love of that person. Ramakrishna converted that into spiritual way. How was that? The master was also there. The story was of a man who loved a woman so much that he dug a tunnel under the ground so that he could meet with her. Now, how is it converted to spiritual life? Just see the power of love. Just see the power of love. The master used to say, when these three attachment becomes one, and if you turn that towards God, instead of turning towards the human being, that man was in love with that woman, so much of intense love. And so if you turn that towards God, you can easily get God realization. God will become your slave. The master used to say that when the three attachments become one, then God is realized. That is, when one loves God with the combined force of the attachment of the chaste wife for the husband, that of a mother for her child, and that of a rich miser for his wealth. The miserly rich person, the businessman, will be so much attached to his money, increasing his money, always will be counting. And the mother will be so much attached to the child, and the chaste wife will be so much attached and love her husband. So if you can combine these three attachments and love towards God, then you will get God realization. The highest goal of life will be reached easily. So the master used to say that when three attachment becomes one, then God can be realized. That is, when one loves God with the combined force of the attachment of a chaste wife towards the husband, that of a mother for her child, and that of a rich man for his wealth, then one is sure to realize God. Once, once, once when the master was sick, Dr. Mahendranath Pal came to see him. Before leaving, that Dr. Mahendranath Pal gave 5 rupees. In those days, 5 rupees was huge amount, to Ramlal Dada, the nephew of Ramakrishna, for the master to be used for Sri Ramakrishna. The master did not know this. But what happened? Because Ramakrishna would not accept any gift from anybody. Aparigraha, all that Ramakrishna used to follow intensely. He did not know that in his name the money was taken by Ramlal that night, but see the intensity of his practices. That night he tossed and turned in the bed, he couldn't sleep properly. Latu Maharaj is telling, I fanned him for a long time, but still Ramakrishna was restless. Finally he said to me, please call Ramlal. That rascal Ramlal, so he used to use the word Sala in Hindi and in Bengali. The word Sala is used, Durs Sala. So now Ramakrishna, that is translated into rascal here. Please call Ramlal, that Sala, that rascal, must have done something wrong. Otherwise, why am I not able to sleep? It was then 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So midnight, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock at that time, Ramakrishna could sleep. Latu Maharaj is fanning him even at that late night. As soon as Ramlal Dada arrived, the master said, you rascal, Sala, go and return that money to that man who gave it to you in my name. Then Ramakrishna could know why he couldn't sleep that day, because he had taken the name in his name. Then Ramlal Dada told the master the whole story. That very night, Latu Maharaj accompanied Ramlal Dada to Mahendranath Pal's house, to the doctor's house. When he roused the doctor in that midnight from the sleep and returned the money. Until then, Ramakrishna couldn't sleep. So Ramakrishna would not touch the money of others. He would not touch money at all. But belonging to others, that will become amount to theft. So even though he had given, Ramakrishna would not, aparigraha, he would not touch anybody's money. So until he returned it back, Ramakrishna couldn't sleep. So that was the intensity of spiritual practices Ramakrishna had done. No compromise at all. So when we see our own ideal Ramakrishna practicing these things, at least if we follow 1% or 10% of it, it will greatly benefit us. That's why the task of the Avatar Purushas is so difficult. They have to set in the perfection, the ideal to the perfection, to do the extremes, so that we may follow maybe 1%, 10% of it, and we will be benefited very greatly. Now again, Latu Maharaj is telling another incident which happened. Ram Babu, his master, Ramchandra Datta, bought a basket of jalebi. You know that sweet jalebi, which Ramakrishna liked, an Indian sweet jalebi, for Sri Ramakrishna one day. But on his way to the Dakshineshwar, he gave one sweet from the basket to one poor boy who was begging there. Now, he didn't tell Ramakrishna about it, or Ramakrishna also didn't know about it. The master could not eat that jalebis when it was placed in his room. If he wanted to take it, because he liked jalebi, he took it. He can't eat it. Something is forcing away. He's trying to keep it into the mouth. No, he can't. He had to keep it back. The master could not eat the jalebis, and he told him, Ramchandra Datta, never give away a part of anything you bring for me. When you bring any sweets or fruits for me, never offer it or never give it to anybody else, because that becomes juta. Offer to somebody else, uchishta, juta, eaten by somebody else. Then I can't eat it, because it was the divine personality, the great Vishnu who lived inside him, and it was divine Mother Kali who was living inside that body, the person of Ramakrishna. He would first offer to the divine Mother Kali, or that great person who was residing in him. So now if it is offered to somebody else, if it is eaten by somebody else, how can you offer it to God? So that's why Ramakrishna couldn't offer it. Without offering to his Ishtadevata, he would not eat it. So that's why, even though Ramchandra Datta did not mention, but nothing could be hidden from Sri Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna could know it. Was trying to eat the jalebi, he couldn't, then he could. This whole scene came to his mind. So he called Ramchandra Datta and told him, Ram, never offer anything and then bring to somebody and then give it to me. Ram Babu, Ramchandra Datta, Latu Maharaj is explaining, brought a basket of jalebis for master one day, but on the way Dakshineshwar, he gave one sweet from that basket to a young boy who was begging. So when you are offering, never give that to your children, or they should not do the uchista when you are taking it to offer to the Lord. So these are all we have to learn. Or neither do you taste, you yourself should not taste it and then offer it to the Lord. It should be very pure. It should be very, very carefully prepared with great devotion and offered. Otherwise, not only the Lord will not accept it, it will be very sinful. You will be earning sin instead of punya. So never offer juta, which is already offered to somebody, to God. So Ramakrishna himself is telling, the master could not eat the jalebis, and he told Ramchandra Datta, Ram, never give away a part of anything you bring for me, but then it cannot be offered to the Divine Mother. And you know that I cannot eat anything without offering it to the mother first. I will, anything I offer it to Divine Mother first, and then only I will eat it. It so happened once in Jairambati or some other place. I don't know whether Udbodhan or Jairambati. I've forgotten it. So once a devotee was bringing flowers, bringing a bunch of flowers to give offer to Master. Holy Mother was watching that. Sharda Devi was watching that. That person is holding that and is talking to everybody who are coming there. And each time when he sees a person, he will do pranams to him. Namaskar. See, we do namaskar, suppose we. So he's holding those things, fruits and flowers, to God, to be offered to God. And with that, because both the hands are engaged, with that hand, now if he sees somebody, immediately he will raise that flower and what you call salute him. And then he came. Holy Mother saw that. Holy Mother told to do pranams with that thing, then it is offered to that person. Then never offer that to God. So when you are bringing something, fruits and flowers, don't go to the Swami, don't go to the person and do the offering or the namaskar with that, any person for that sake. First, that's why we always tell, did you go to the temple? Did you offer it to the master or the god or goddesses? Then afterwards, until then, please focus on God and God only. Give it to all. Then you come back and do pranams and talk to them. But with that offering, never raise it as namaskar or anything to them with your hands. Mother told that can't be offered. Mother, stop that person offering it. Now you have already offered it to somebody else. Now you cannot offer it to God. So why would master not eat it? So the master could not eat anything. So Ramakrishna himself is mentioned. Ram Babu, Ram, never give away a part of anything you bring for me, for then it cannot be offered to the Divine Mother. And you know that I cannot eat anything without offering it to the Mother first. Sometime after Master hurt his arm, he once fell and broke his arm, fractured his arm. So Latamarji is telling, sometimes after Master hurt his arm, Tarak was Swami Shivananda, another direct disciple, came to Dakshineshwar. He bought prasad, holy clay, some holy dust, and a rosary from Vrindavan. He had bought the holy clay from the Yamuna river where Lord Krishna would be playing, and the holy dust from the place where Lord Krishna played in Vrindavan, and also rosary, Tulsi rosary from Vrindavan for the master. When he noticed the bandage on master's arm because he had fractured his arm, he asked, "What happened to your arm, master?" The master replied, "I was going to take a look at the moon when my feet tripped over a low railing and I fell down and my arm was broken. The suffering has not stopped." Now Tarak, or Swami Shivan, later would become Shivananda, is asking Ramakrishna, "Is it a dislocation or a fracture, master?" Then to which Ramakrishna replied, "I do not know." Said the master, "These people have simply bandaged my hand. See, I like to chant the God's name, my mother's name, with my mind at ease, but see how the trouble now. I cannot clap my hand at all. While singing the name of the Divine Mother, I used to clap and I used to be so free. Now they have bandaged it. Now I cannot clap my hand and dance and take the name of my mother. I like to chant the mother's name with my mind at ease. But just see the trouble now. They won't even let me undo the bandage. Is it possible to call on the mother in such a painful state? Sometimes I think, what nonsense this bandage is. Let me break all these bonds and merge in the divine. But then again I think, no. This is just another aspect of the divine play. There is also some joy in this. Now Tarak later on would become Shivananda, Swami Shivananda. Tarak told the master, "O master, by your mere wish, you can be cured. You are such a great person, even yogis, ordinary yogis, if they have gone forward in spiritual life, if they just turn their mind, concentrate on any part of the body which has disease or any problem, and if they give the auto suggestion for curing, that will be cured. So you are an avatar Purusha, you are a great perfected yogi, everything. So by your mere wish, you can be cured." When Tarak, later Shivananda, that is Swami Shivananda, Tarak told Ramakrishna about this, that by your mere wish you can be cured. Ramakrishna, "What?" exclaimed Master. "Can I cure myself by only a wish?" Like a child, he asked the question. Then he paused a moment and added, "No, suffering from the affliction is good. For those who come here with desires will see the condition I am and they will go away. Many people come here not for God but for some worldly desires. When they come and look me with this state, they will think, oh, this person himself is hurt and what can he do? How can he cure our diseases?" And those worldly people who have come not for God but for worldly things, so they will go away. That's why the Divine Mother has played this time in this way and made me put this bandage. When these worldly people, when they come and look at me, they will tell, what can he do for us, cure our diseases? So they will go away. Then they won't bother me. That's why the Divine Mother has played this drama in me. Then he said, "Mother, you have played a very clever trick." He started talking with Divine Mother. So when he told it can be cured, so he's talking to the Divine Mother. Then the Divine Mother told, "I've done this only to ward off all such people." Then Ramakrishna is talking to the Divine Mother because he could see, he could converse. Always Divine Mother was reality to him. So he was talking with Divine Mother. Then Ramakrishna is telling to the Divine Mother. Then he said, "Mother, you played a clever trick." At that, he started to sing a song to the Divine Mother. Singing so that song, he merged into Samadhi, deep state. He became one with the Mother. So Latu Maharaj has explained about this. Now, another time, Latu Maharaj is telling, when Brother Niranjan, his pre-monastic name was Niranjan, later on he became Swami Niranjanananda, another direct disciple. So when Brother Niranjan came to the Master for the first time, Latu Maharaj was the first direct disciple to come to Ramakrishna, senior most. So he has seen everybody. We used to be there with Ramakrishna all the time. So now another direct disciple, Niranjan, has come for the first time. When Brother Niranjan, Swami Niranjana, would be later on called Swami Niranjanananda, came to the Master for the first time, Latu Maharaj is explaining, the Master told him, "Look here, my boy, if one does 99 good turns to a person and one bad, if one does 99 good turns to a person and only one bad, that person will remember the bad and he will forget the others." When we were studying in the neuroscience, there is a acronym called ANT, automatic negative thoughts. So our mind, our brain is functioned or programmed in such a way, only the negative thoughts are quickly recorded. The positive things are not at all noticed. Tendency of human beings, it is in our genes. Ants, automatic negative thoughts. So here you can see Ramakrishna is telling that in a different way. If one does 99 good turns to a person, good things, and only one bad thing, that person, we human beings, all of us, we remember only that bad one and forget the others. The positive is forgotten, the negative only is kept in the mind. So neuroscience recently is proving that, but Ramakrishna is telling the same fact 170 years back or 150 years back. So he's telling, if one does 91 good things to a person and only one bad thing, that person remembers the bad one and forgets the good. Then what is the difference between God and human being? What is the divine personality? But if that human being does 99 bad turns to God and only one good thing, the Lord remembers the good one and forgets all the rest and lift that man. So now, should we become like this human beings, or should we raise from our human level all human defects to divine level and become one with God? So the more we recognize the good things, the positive things in others, in this world, then we ourselves will become God. If you go on seeing only bad things and negative things in the life, then we will become human beings or the lower like animals. So why don't we start from now to seeing only, even many people commit wrong things to us, look at that only small good things they have done and lift them up, help them. Forget about all the 100 bad things. That is divine nature. So that is the difference between human beings and God. So now Ramakrishna is telling this to Niranjanananda, or at that time it was Niranjan. Latu Maharaj was there, and Latu Maharaj is telling all of us, the Lord remembers the good one and he forgets all the 100 bad things. And Ramakrishna is telling, this is the difference between human love and divine love. So should we not develop this divine love? Ramakrishna is telling, please remember this Niranjan. Through Niranjan and through Latu Maharaj, now Ramakrishna is all telling, always remember this. That is the difference between human beings and the God. So another time, Latu Maharaj is explaining, one day the master touched brother Niranjan in ecstasy. So when you would be in that Bhava Samadhi, very high state of mind, in ecstasy, one day master touched brother Niranjan. Then Niranjan could not close his eyes for 3 days and 3 nights. Because of that touch, in that high state of mind, it gave such a thrust, or it gave such a transformation in the personality of Niranjan. There was the spiritual power which was transferred through that touch in that high state to Niranjan, that Niranjan started having constant spiritual ecstasy or spiritual experience, that immediately Niranjan could not close his eyes for 3 days and 3 nights. He was in that joy, merged in God for 3 days and 3 nights. That was the effect of the touch of Sri Ramakrishna. Just by a touch, he would transform people. Now Niranjan had the continuous vision of the light, and he kept chanting the Lord's name. So that was the effect of just the touch of Sri Ramakrishna. He could transform people. Before coming to Master, Niranjan was interested in spiritualism. We should note the difference between spirituality and spiritualism. So many people will be using this term spiritualism without knowing the meaning. Here, spiritualism means working with these ghosts after death, calling those spirits and talking to them, talking with the ghosts, controlling the ghosts and making them work. That is spiritualism in English. So don't confuse spiritualism with spirituality. Spirituality is going forward towards God, talking to God. But spiritualism is talking to ghosts. and hobgoblins and other negative forces. So that's why earlier Niranjan was in the group of people who were practicing this spiritualism, controlling the ghost, talking to the ghost, bringing the dead ones back. So he was into that. He was interested in spiritualism, and also he was a very good medium. What is meant by medium? They will invoke the ghosts or dead spirits into the body of Niranjan or anybody who is a medium, who is a good medium. So that ghost or that spirit, dead spirit, would come and then take possession of the body of the medium and express whatever he wanted through that person. So earlier Niranjan was acting as a medium to bring that ghosts or spirits into himself, and then he used to speak for the ghost. So he was into this spiritualism, and Niranjan would act as a medium. Now when he came to Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna would tease him. This time now you were all allowing the ghost to enter you, possess you and act as a medium, but this time after the touch of Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna himself is telling, but this time it is not an ordinary spirit. The Ramakrishna was not an ordinary ghost, but a special, very great spirit who has possessed you now, my boy. Now you cannot escape. Now no more this ghost, the biggest spirit, that is Lord Vishnu or Divine Mother Kali or Ramakrishna himself has possessed you. I have possessed you now. No more of these petty ghosts and spirits. So Ramakrishna is to make fun of Niranjan. Before coming to the master, Niranjan had been interested in spiritualism and would act as a medium. The master teased him. This time it is not an ordinary spirit who has possessed you, my boy. The real divine spirit, Paramatman, is not the Atman, ordinary Atman, the ghost of the spirit, but it is the Paramatman. This time it is not an ordinary spirit who has possessed you, my boy. The real divine spirit has jumped on your shoulders. Try as much as you can. Try as you may. Now you won't be able to get rid of this spirit, high spirit. I'm not going to leave you. You have to now proceed forward and get God realization. Enough of all these medium and spiritualism and talking to the ghosts. So Latu Maharaj is telling this incident which happened with Niranjan. A man once came into master's room one day and started to talk about worldly things. Latu Maharaj is noticing a man came to the room of the Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar and he started to talk worldly things. The master said, "This is not the place to talk of such matters. Please go to the temple manager's office. There are many staff workers. You can talk there. But coming to me, please don't talk these worldly things." We have seen here also to the ashrama and to the temples and to other religious places. People come and they will start talking politics and all the other things, hijacking politics. That person did like this politician did like this, what did the government do, and that person ran away with somebody else. So they will talk all worldly things, nonsense. We have seen it here. Then I have to remind them slowly, not hurting them. Please, let us not talk all these things here. Let us talk of only God, but to turn that our mind. Here, the worldly man came to the room of Ramakrishna and started talking worldly things and telling worldly politics and other things to Ramakrishna. Then Ramakrishna told, "This is not the place where you can talk these worldly things. Oh, my dear man, you go to the office there. The Kali Mandir, there was this office where the staff would be typing, the clerks would be there, the office manager would be there, many workers there. They are worldly people. You can go to them and you can talk all these politics and other things there. This is not the place. You have come to me. If you can talk about God, well and good. If you can't, no worldly things. Enough of all these worldly things." So what is Ramakrishna showing us here? Enough of those worldly things, enough of those politics, enough of those dirty things. Let us put our mind only thoughts of God. Think only of the good things, not the worldly things. So there is a reminder, a call, special call, that we should be at least now turning our mind from all these things. The moment you meet anybody, yeah, they will start. Conversation is politics, politicians. I've seen many people in my own eyes here too in Johannesburg. Oh, they will give up everything. Oh, the president is going to speak now. You can hear the gist afterwards. They will run, they will go to the TV, they will go to the radio. That politician is speaking, this politician, now the message, they will give the same old message. They're so interested, they will run to the commentary, that cricket, that and this. They're not interested in God. Are they so much interested in hearing about God? There is something, they will run away. If there is a lecture, how many are hearing now about this wonderful talk of Ramakrishna and wonderful teaching? They can't get up from the bed. They will be so nicely cozy inside the blanket. They will be sleeping. They can't get up at even 6:30 and watch. They will tell, if there is some program like this, they will tell, oh, we will watch it afterwards, the recorded one. And they will also ask me, oh, Swamiji, is it recorded? Can you send me? I have to do the preparation. I have to get up so early in the morning and do all these activities. And I also have to take the difficulty. They can't do that recording and take it from others. They want me to record it and they want me to send them. So, do we give the same importance to God and spirituality? Whatever we want, we get. We are so interested in worldly things. Vishayananda, this is called Vishayananda. So, we should take interest in Bhajanananda, in the service of the Lord. We should get interest, and we will complain, oh, I'm not getting concentration of mind. Oh, we are not focusing. I'm not getting any result. God is not at all compassionate on me. How can it be? You don't have love towards God at all, or godly things or divine things. So interested in worldly things, politics. And when we come to ashram also, we will start politics. So Ramakrishna is giving a clarion call to all of us. Enough of these worldly things, enough of worldly talk, enough of all these worldly things. Jumbo mumbo. Talk only about God. Ramakrishna told that worldly person, this is not the place to talk to worldly things or about worldly things. Go to the manager's office there. The clerks, the members, they are so worldly. They will talk all these things. Here, only about God. So let us focus only about God and God alone. I think we have about 7 minutes left. So if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. We'll continue the same conversation in the next session, that is Thursday. It is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We will meet again, if God wills, to discuss these wonderful things which Ramakrishna has told. Again, until then, we'll be meditating on the wonderful things which the Lord has told us. Any questions? Any doubts on today's discussion or on spirituality?
Om Swamiji.
Please tell Kolanji.
Swamiji, now we talk about Swami Niranjanan regarding the medium. There is a practice in South Africa. I don't know how prolific
everywhere. I have seen everywhere, even in India. We see that even in the West, even in Europe, America, everywhere they do that. It's their common.
So this practice, because in the recent years, because of the COVID, a lot of people have lost loved ones and things like that. So they have resorted to attending these mediums, hopefully to get closure. Is there any how shall I say, any benefit in these things, or
no benefit? It will rather digress, or it will degenerate that person, because now why do they call those ancestors their dead ones? Not for any love for them. They will call only if there is some secret will or some secret jewelry or money lost, or they want that only. They are not interested in those spirits or the people, the father or the mother or anybody who has died. They are interested in money, anything, the will is missing, the jewelry is missing. So they are worldly needs, they are calling. It's not for spirituality. It's only what you call for worldly things. That's all. But it will degenerate the person. If you go for the spirit, if you go for all these things, it will digress our mind. It will weaken our mind. It's not good.
Okay. Achha. Swamiji, one other question, Swamiji. When Sri Ramakrishna, when he passed away or attained Mahasamadhi,
Yeah.
Captain Upadhyaya, he mentioned the act of rubbing
the cow ghee to the backbone in the reverse direction, so that say now when we sit in meditation, the Kundalini awakens and it goes in the upward direction and it goes to the Sahasrara, the Turiyavastha, and merge in the Parabrahman. Now the yogic practice is to bring down, if you rub the cow ghee in the opposite direction, then the mind which is merged in the Parabrahman, the higher Sahasrara, may come back to Kundalini, that is a normal consciousness. So they tried everything because he knew about that yogic practices. He tried, but willingly, because Ichcha Maranatva, the Lord Himself gave up this body, merged that Atma in that Paramatman, Parabrahman higher state. Just like Ramachandra, after ruling for 11,000 years, he told, now I am going back to my state, that is Vaikuntha. If people of Ayodhya want to follow me, you come, I will give you that liberation. Otherwise, people who are interested in this world, you can stay there. Many followed him. But Ramachandra entered the Saryu Nadi and he went to Vaikuntha. Likewise, after many, many years, the Lord will go back. Avatarana is, he has come from that higher state. So he has to go back to his state. So he can't stay here for permanently. Likewise, Ramakrishna, after he had finished the work, he gave up his body in Samadhi. Like Swami Vivekananda also decided, saw the Panchanga, he opened up the horoscope, he decided a very auspicious time, and then he gave up his body in meditation. Then at the same time, Shashi Maharaj or Ramakrishnanandaji was in Chennai. There he appeared, Vivekananda appeared, and he told Shashi, I have cast off my body like a worn out cloth, old cloth, I've spit it out. And then he disappeared. Then after that, after some time, he got the telegram that Vivekananda had given up the body. So they are great people who have control. You too can do that. If you also go forward in spiritual life, you can also do that. You too have that capacity in you, but we are not exercising it. We want the other worldly things. So we get whatever we want, we get. Whatever you think, you become.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah, so there are some questions here on the live chat of the Google. I'm just reading it and trying to answer it. Sridhar Jagwant has posted that. There are two questions. Jaima, Dr. Sarojini is telling, Swamiji, as devotees, if we point out another devotee who has told that she will do something, and will not do, not once but few times, then is it bad to remind them that you did not keep up your words? I was waiting for your response. You can tell it, but in a way that it will not hurt that person. It has to be made sweet, like sugar coated. When the truth is told, it should be priyam bruyat, satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Remind them. So if it is for your selfish purpose, then, and if you are harsh, that may harm you. If it for unselfish purpose, for the good of other people, then you can also tell a little harsh way also. That will not harm you. But if it is for your selfish gain, then better be polite, better be very sweet, and give a gentle reminder. Okay. So everything based on selfishness and unselfishness. But whatever might be, we have to be very polite. We should not hurt anybody. Okay. The question is answered. Any other questions? Only two
Maharaj,
questions. Yes, Shrikant, please tell.
Maharaj, it's a very basic question, but just for the understanding, as you had said, Sri Ramakrishna, God himself, would be around people. Some would see him as God, some would not. Similarly, individuals can attend a function and there's no change in heart, or there's no penetration at that point in time um, into their feelings or emotions towards God. What blocks it, Swamiji? Is it?
See, externally, you will not see the change. How can you tell they didn't have the change? There will be change, but unnoticed, or it may be slow. But the change, when you go to some good places or satsang or hear good things of God, there will be change. But based on the intensity of your worldliness, the change may be slow or the degree of change may be less. But the change is there. So gradually it will improve of much more of hearing and much more of finishing of the old karmas, the ignorance will reduce. Then all these things will come and push us, give a thrust to our spiritual life, and it will boost our spiritual life. So never tell that there is no impact. There will be impact. Whatever good things you do, as Lord Krishna has promised in Bhagavad Gita, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you do the righteous activity, hearing of good things, hearing of lectures, coming to satsang, going to the temple, doing puja, so even the smallest of good things you do, dharma, that will protect you from great dangers, Lord Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That's why don't give up, whether you may not see the impact. Go on hearing, go on doing the good things. Even the smallest, even a thought of that will remove our bondage to greater extent. So the impact will be there, but you cannot notice it. As Mother Sharda Devi tells, somebody asked her, Mother, we are doing so much of japa, we are doing so much of spiritual practice, we don't see any change. Then the mother gave the example. Suppose you are sleeping. Then somebody comes in your sleep, they will put your cot and the bed into a vehicle and they will drive you to a long distance. Maybe you have traveled in your sleep hundreds of kilometers. Have you noticed it? Not at all. You are in the sleep, you are in the stupor, you are in the ignorance. So you can't notice it. So because you can't notice it, do you think that you have not traveled 100 kilometers? You have, but you have not noticed it. Likewise, when you hear good things, when you come to the satsang, when you do the puja, attend the religious activities, there will be progress. Only depending upon the intensity of your worldliness, it may look less, but in reality, there will be progress, there will be improvement.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other doubts? Okay, if you don't have any questions, any doubts, then I can conclude with the prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshah Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Pridite Prinitam Jagat Harihi Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Namaste. Om Namo Narayanaya.